We're going to take a look now at how the war in Ukraine has been affecting the sports world, and we're going to do that with France 24's James Vicina, who's with me here in the studio. Hi, James. Well, we've seen players and teams voice their opposition to the war over this past week. What have they been saying?
Yeah, well, players and teams voicing their opposition, and it's really taken another pace this weekend, especially if we look at the world of football, where league football has restarted over the weekend, and where else to really start if we go and look at the Premier League and West Ham, of course. Well, they've sent out a big message to Ukraine and, of course, their forward Yarmolenko. He's asked for a few days off just to be able to deal with this on a personal level. He wasn't there today for their game, but they sent out this message to him, for him and his family, and as well to the rest of Ukraine. It didn't start just today. Everton players yesterday, ahead of their fixture against Manchester City, bearing flags of Ukraine just there. And it's not just in the Premier League. Over in the Bundesliga, there's been many messages. A very big message actually taking place in Frankfurt Stadium. They really had some words out there for the situation in Ukraine and to tell Vladimir Putin this with their game against Bayern Munich. FC Schalke, meanwhile, they've taken a very bold step, removing Gazprom from their shirt. Gazprom, the Russian gas supplier giant, normally sponsors them. Well, they've removed them from their shirt and kept instead simply their team name on there. So really just plenty of action going on in domestic leagues, but also across the world on the international level. Well, we know that in the World Cup, we've seen Poland say that they will not be facing Russia in their qualifier to come for the World Cup 2022 to take place at the end of the year in Qatar. Now, this is the case for Poland, but Sweden and Czech Republic, they've also said that they will refuse to play against a possible Russian team in case Russia does come out victorious against Poland. So once again, decisions onto how things are going to happen there, because these are just the final games ahead to see who is going to be able to make their way over to Qatar. And really, everything summed up really well by Poland's captain, Robert Lewandowski. He put out this message earlier saying that this was the right decision to not be playing against Russia, that he could not imagine playing a match with the Russian national team in a situation where armed aggression in Ukraine continues. And very clearly, this I think is really important to note, is that Russian footballers and fans are not responsible for this, but he can't pretend that nothing is happening. So that really embodies really the situation of what it is in sports, because we're seeing teams, we're seeing players individually take their decision, not aimed, of course, towards Russian athletes, because they will be missing out and suffering the consequences from this, but really voicing their opposition, as we've seen, of course, earlier on in the week with Chelsea's owner, Abramovich, saying that he was handing over the responsibility of the team to Chelsea's charitable foundation. What that actually means for them, we don't really know yet, but this comes amid of more decisions. The Champions League final having been moved from Saint Petersburg, now taking place in Paris. So all parts are really in a way of removing Russia from this international stage of sports and stripping them from what could have been really, brilliant events, huge highlights within the year, which Russian fans would also be able to attend.
Indeed, and James, it's not just football. Other sports are also making similar moves.
Yeah, same thing in Formula One. This all really kick-started off with Sebastian Vettel saying that he was not going to be racing in Russia should that go ahead. Now, the Sochi Grand Prix was due to take place in September. But after he was really the first one to be very vocal about this, he said that he wasn't going to be going there, and they took that decision for the Grand Prix not to be taking place. So Sochi cancelled. Haas, meanwhile, well, we've seen actions on their side. They're sponsored, they normally bear the Russian flags on their car. And as you can see here, the wings totally black. And they normally have some of the colours from the Russian flag as well. Well, they've decided not to go ahead with that in their testing. Nikita Mazepin, of course, the only Russian driver in Formula One at the moment, is in a difficult situation. Racing for the team, we'll definitely can expect to hear more from him, but of course, difficult situation for athletes and for just the world of sports in general. And really, this comes together with the economic sanctions that we've seen about removing Russia from that stage, and a stage which is of course profitable, not only on an economic side, but also its enjoyment, its pleasure for fans. And we know how much Russia really counts, really looks up towards sports and how important it is for the country.
Indeed.